Hello, it is August 1st. What? Me remembering to say the date. Anyway, I'm currently about 71 pages through An Abundance of Catherines. I've read about 75 pages of Anna Karenina today, and then I've also listened to about an hour more of the City Spies audiobook. And honestly, I feel like I would have gone through more, except I had physical therapy today. Whoa, what is my camera doing? Anyway, yeah, so I'm going to try to read more, but Cynthia is going to call me any second because one of our friends, Isabella, has extra tickets to KCON. So tomorrow we are going to the concert for KCON on Saturday, which is super exciting because that means I get to see NMIXX in concert, and I've never seen NMIXX, so that's very exciting. But we do need outfits. We do not have time to buy outfits, even though I don't think I'd want to buy an outfit anyway. I have so much clothes. The last thing I need is to buy more clothes. I am sure I have something, but the issue with that is I need to find an outfit, especially because I only had the Stray Kids outfit. Like, that was the only concert I was planning on going to. So, none of my, formal clothes really are out, especially because my work wardrobe is even put away. So, yeah, I'm currently in, Adidas sweatpants from middle school and my Madame Leota t-shirt. But yeah, so I'm gonna try to get to page 75 of this. But honestly, I'm fully convinced I just don't understand John Green books. This is the third one I've read. I've read Turtles all the way down, and then I've apparently read The Fault in Our Stars twice, and I still don't remember a single thing that happened in either of those books. And honestly, in this one, I don't get it. I just don't get it. I'm not a part of the club that understands what's happening in John Green books. And I think I'm going to have to learn to just be okay with it because I really don't understand what's going on. Yeah. Anyway, so and then also, I did not expect myself to actually be enjoying Anna Karenina as much as I, wanted to. I either have a love-hate relationship with literature, especially classics. My only two that I don't really consider, a pain to get through is The Count of Monte Cristo and Pride and Prejudice. And I've read them both multiple times. So the fact that I'm enjoying Anna Karenina so far. Basically, if you've never read the book, it is about this guy named Steva and his sister named Anna. And Steva believes it's okay to cheat on his wife and is really confused why his wife is mad at him that he cheated on her. And his sister is coming to town. And then at the same time, he has this friend named Levin. And Levin wants to propose to Steva's wife's younger sister named Kitty, but Kitty tells him no because she's in love with Vrosky. I think that's his name. And Vrosky, I don't know what happens. That's as far as I'm in. I'm 75 pages in to my copy that I have is 963 pages. The only reason I've memorized that is because I've been trying to do the math to how many pages I need to read to get it to the library in time. And that I need to read at least 52 pages a day. So 75 pages on August 1st is not bad. Anyway, I've been yapping for a while. I might update later. I might update tomorrow. I don't know. We'll find out. See you next time. It is August 2nd. Yeah. Yay, yeah, I finished City Spies last night. I was listening to the audiobook while doing my PT exercises. It was so cute. It was so good. I really, really love the dynamics of the characters, so that's great. I'm currently working on my 50 pages a day of Anna Karenina. I have can I do basic math? Hold on. I have 20 pages to go for today's. Yeah, and then Cynthia is coming over soon. We were going to go to Isabella's to get ready for the concert, but Isabella texted us and was hold up. So Cynthia is still coming over at the Cynthia's still coming over for the predetermined time, and I'm going to catch her up on Apothecary Diaries. However, I did have to bring the dogs in because my parents are getting their sprinkler lines fixed and they're not here, and the dogs are inside and they're actually being calm. Wow, what a feat. I don't know where Ludo is. I think he's behind this blanket, but I could be wrong. But it quite honestly is a miracle that they're being calm. So I'm gonna get back to my reading because I really do want to, whoa. I really do want to get done before Cynthia gets here. So we continue. Hello, is the next day. Tis the next day. Yeah, I'm a bit of a mess. I didn't think I was gonna have like post-concert high, but I like kind of do. It was really cool. I saw a bunch of cool groups. A group that hasn't even debuted yet, and then a bunch of like new baby groups that I haven't heard of before. But the Zero Base One boys, I believe, were hosting, and I saw NMIXX! Hell yeah! I was so excited to see NMIXX because I love NMIXX. And they did Dash, and my friend and I were like pretty calm the entire time until NMIXX came out, and they were like, NMIXX, change up! But they didn't do that song. But it's okay, because they did Dash, and I had a great time. I have not listened to their new comeback. That was my own fault, but I had a good time. Then Jackson Wang came out, and it's really funny because as a middle schooler, I was a big fan of GOT7. But I also will say I was not aware of K-pop culture, and like I listened to GOT7's music, but I was not aware of like bias and like all the terms. So I was a little bit sad because like when I got into K-pop, GOT7 like was breaking up and like their contract ended. So I was like, damn, I'll never see any of them in concert, even though some of them are complete like totally solo artists, like whatever. So when I saw Jackson Wang, a part of middle school me was there alive and well, and it actually made me laugh. He was a really great performer. But, like, every 4 seconds, he kept going, I'm Jackson Wang! And literally, I don't know why it made me laugh so hard. Mainly because I also was hearing the meme. Yeah, that one. But that was great. And then aespa came out. And honestly, I will not lie. I do not think I will go to an aespa concert, like, pay. But for free, they were a great show. Like, the girls did a great job in performing. Their dancers were great. And their songs were really fun. They did Whiplash and Supernova. Sorry, I had to go through the song to figure out what the title was called. That was really fun. I think they did one of their B-sides, which I'm not familiar with, but it was a good time. And then Monsta X came out. I never in my life did I ever think I was going to see Monsta X, so that was cool. However, back to why this relates to books. I did get through the pages I needed to yesterday for Anna Karenina. However, hold on, it's over here. Get out. No. Come back. No. There's papers. Hold on. I did not get through my pages of An Abundance of Catherines. I think I'm like 50 pages away from where I was supposed to be yesterday, and then I have to read 75 more today. The only thing that is not is reducing the anxiety about all of this is because I already finished the City Spies book. And luckily this is not very long. I'm not enjoying it so far. I think all the main characters are really annoying. And I think I said this last time. I don't think I understand John Green books. And I know I'm not the target audience for them anymore. So like, I don't know. I don't get it. But I will continue because, I don't know. I want, whoa, this book originally cost $9. I swear if you go into stores now and get this exact book, it will be like $15. That's crazy. Anyway, so I'm gonna read for about 45 minutes because I still also have to edit that damn Caraval video. Yeah, and I kind of hate it, and I'm having the urge to refilm it, but I also don't have the time to refilm it, so I'm gonna have to suck it up and just put that video out because I said I was going to, so I need to do the things that I said I was going to do. But yeah, so I'll be back at some point to update you. But I also can't believe it's only August 2nd because it feels like 4 million things have happened already. But guys, look what's here. Drops it. Okay. And my chairs. Look at my carpet. Oh my god. I'm gonna fall. Okay. You can't see what it is because the label has my address on it, so tee. I did like start opening it and then realized that I should probably do this on camera. So okay, this is just a sheet. Da-da-da. Here we are, workbook, and what is this called? Volume 7. Yay! Added to the tower of books that's already there. So exciting. This pull tab, this new system that they have, I kind of really hate. Like, this was not an easy experience. But I am glad that they are here. Cool beans. I'm like almost done with An Abundance of Catherines, and I still continue to not understand John Green books. I think I'm just gonna be a part of a population that just never understands John Green books. And I know I'm also not the I also know I'm no longer the target demographic, but yes, I don't understand. But along with that, I'm also currently reading 2 books that I'm not necessarily like really into, so I fear that I'm not very motivated, or like I'm more scared about my list of books this month. I'm really excited for What the River Knows, because I've heard good things about it, even though for the sequel I have not heard good things. But I've heard good things about that first one, and I really like the premise. So crossing my fingers that it's a much better reading experience than An Abundance of Catherines. And then Anna Karenina, I always knew it was going to be a bad reading experience, because I always have bad reading experiences the first time I read a classic. So yep, I will check back in later. Hopefully I'm done with the book and have moved on, because this is terrible. My monster pajama pants. I'm officially done with An Abundance of Catherines, and I think, okay, I still don't fully understand, but I can see, maybe it is a slight understanding. I can see why some people would be attracted to John Green books. I also feel like this is the least sad John Green book I've ever read, mainly because from this point, I've only read The Fault in Our Stars and Turtles All the Way Down, and now An Abundance of Catherines. I know there's other ones that are much more sad than this, but I can see the ending was cute. I did enjoy it. I just wish it wasn't such a painful experience to get to that point, yet here we are. But it's okay, because now that I'm done with this, I'm going to start reading What the River Knows, and I'm officially ahead of schedule for the month, yay! And now the anxiety is gone. Now I am fine. Oh, I didn't talk about that. I'm like ridiculously anxious, but it's my own fault, because I had more than like 6 caffeinated beverages of different varieties in like 48 hours, which usually I can do a cup of black tea in the morning, and like that's it. So, completely my fault. However, I don't know where that statement was going. I will update later, and I'm gonna get started on What the River Knows. But yeah, overall this was fun. Did I explain what this is about? I don't think I did. So basically this book is about a guy, his name's Colin, and for some reason he's dated 19 different girls named Catherine, and he's just been dumped by number 19, and his friend is like, yo, you're not good, let's go on a road trip to discover ourselves. And he's like, Catherine, so sad. And they end up in some middle of nowhere Tennessee, and they like are working and doing stuff and discovering the meaning of life and what it is to matter. Existential stuff. I don't know why I'm still talking. I'm gonna go get the next book. I'm procrastinating starting another book. It's fine. Hello, it's August 3rd. I'm in the same jacket. I promise I have a different shirt on underneath, but I'm 20 pages into my reading for this. I'm honestly very surprised for a classic. This is very, it's not exactly easy to read. I'm still going through it slowly, but it's not like older books where you spend like 6 pages explaining a new character's background before like the story continues, which I appreciate. Like, there is a little bit of that, but it's not like every single character, because there's a lot of characters. I also was not expecting this to be so scandalous, and like, so it's honestly messy. Like, every character in this book is honestly just like pretty much very messy, and I'm having a great time. I've written down multiple quotes. Maybe I'll read them, maybe I won't. Yeah, and then I'm about, I don't know why. Hello? I think I'm like 75 pages into What the River Knows. I was very nervous about the first, like, the prologue chapter. And then, like, the first 2 chapters were a bit rough, but I feel like I'm in the story now, and it's starting to move faster. I was only planning on reading 1 chapter last night, and I ended up reading a bunch. So, yeah, I'm also currently, like, I think 90 pages in to Catching Fire, and I'm so stressed. I just want them to be happy, and, like, I know what's gonna happen, and I know they're not gonna be happy, and I'm, like, genuinely so upset. But yeah, gonna keep working on it. I'm actually technically ahead of schedule now that I've read so much of What the River Knows. Yeah, so maybe I'll get to it, maybe I won't, because I have to film today, and I usually like to do, like, go back and think on the books I'm going to talk about at least overnight, because, as you know, my thought process is not always very smooth. So, yeah, it will come out on time. Whether it's going to be good or not is always the question, is it not? So, yeah. Okay, that's it for now. I might update if there's been any more crazy progress, but I think I did a really big push yesterday, so hopefully I just complete what I need to do today. Okay. Hello, wacky angle, but I am in the kitchen, and I am reading, because I got hungry while doing my PT exercises, and I was like, if I do not eat at this exact moment, I'm going to keel over and cry. So I made myself a ham, toom, and spinach sandwich. Not very creative, but I also had no energy, so here we are. I'm currently waiting for my decaf tea to brew, and I'm working on What the River Knows. So these characters are all giving me whiplash, and, like, not in the fun Espa song way, more in, like, I don't think this person knows who her characters are, and I think that's really frustrating for me, because, like, it's like, I don't know, there's so many, like, floating points on all these characters, and I don't know, I feel like because of that, none of the characters feel solid, which is my biggest issue. And then also, I'm a big fan of Egyptian mythology, and the Kane Chronicles, that's all we can blame it for. That's what 100% where it stemmed from. But because of that, I was expecting a little bit more, like, lore to this magic, and it kind of is non-existent. Like, they've mentioned little things like, oh yeah, as the magic gets passed down, like, less people use it, and like, the less magic it has, and, like, some people were spellcasters, and it was, like, forgotten. But, like, the main character knows so little about so many things that it's actually incredibly frustrating to read from her perspective. And, like, she's like, I don't know why they're treating me like a little girl. Like, girl, because you're acting like one. What are you doing? Yeah, I'm on page 170, and the halfway point on this book is 202, and I'm really strongly considering a DNF. And I don't want to, because literally this book has been on my list for literal years. I remember a couple years ago, it was on my Christmas list when it had just come out, so that's really frustrating, but nothing much we can do. I'm going to try to finish it just because I wonder if it, like, picks up, but if this is how it's going for this book, which people said was, like, so much better than book 2, I'm really curious. I'm right now really debating about the fact of maybe just removing book 2 from my electronic TBR. I don't know, but I also have a history of liking books that a lot of people hate, because, like, for example, that one dragon series, I'm forgetting the name of it right now, that everyone likes, I, like, thought book 1 was okay, but then I read book 2 in, like, one day, and when I went to my book club with it, they're like, how? We, like, could barely get through it. And I was like, what do you mean? The world building was so good. And they're like, that's exactly it. The world building, so much of it. I was like, but, like, it was good. But yeah, so I tend to be a little wacky like that. So maybe I'll like book 2, but I've heard it's actually even more frustrating because she's even more like naive than in this one, is what I've heard from the reviews I've watched. So anyway, I'm gonna wait for my tea to brew. I'm going to drink it. I'm gonna brush my teeth, and I'm gonna go to bed. I've only done like maybe 4 of my 12 PT exercises, and yesterday I only did 2, but 4 is better than none, so I'm gonna try to do 2 more today. Then at least I'll be halfway. And there might be easy ones, but at least I'm doing them, because yeah, tomorrow I plan on doing all of them. I just keep losing track of time and starting them way too late, and I've been trying to see if I can like do them in the middle of the day, but the issue with me is like I have a really hard time starting little tasks. I have to like time block things, and like I have to do it all right there, or else I have a really hard time starting doing things again, which is why I have so many work in progress projects everywhere all the time, 100% of the time. ASU, the mug is hot. Ow, ow, ow. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna go do the things I just said I was gonna do. Hello, can you see? I guess I'm just gonna do this update like this. I have finished What the River Knows. Finally, it is currently August 6th. I don't know how I'm getting through these books so fast. Yeah, but unfortunately, that was terrible. I'm even considering, I gave it a 2-star. Unfortunately, I do want to read the next one because, like, the cliffhanger worked. But, like, I'm sure if I ponder on it more, I will find out whether my suffering is worth it to go on to the next book, because I've not heard a single good opinion about the second one. I've only heard that it's worse. At least from the people I follow. Because according to Goodreads, it has the same rating as the first one, which I highly disagree with, but it's fine. I'm starting bringing down the Duke. Sorry, like, this section of my desk is, like, really odd. My desk is a mess, currently. And I'm avoiding doing my mending for another video. So I was gonna do a different video this week, but I stayed up really late editing the July wrap-up video, and I should have known. I should have started earlier in the day, because it was in fact another like hour-long video, and that I did know, and I put it off instead of doing it, and I went to bed at like 3 in the morning after I finished the captions and stuff. But it's fine. Yeah, but I figured doing my mending and doing like a sew with me, which, haha, yes, I can sew, which I guess you're seeing this video after that one, so, like, that's no longer a surprise, but I have things to fix. But, yeah, I am starting this today. Oh. And that's my update. I did finish I'm currently still on time with Anna Karenina, and I'm really torn about the book because, like, some of it is fast-moving and fast-paced, and then some of it's just so slow. Like, I literally just read like 4 chapters of a guy mowing grass for hay, but then like the next chapter is drama, so like, and I understand kind of why he's setting it up, but it's just like really annoying to read. And like, I understand the book is 963 pages, but like, I don't know. I think I'm gonna make it though. I'm on page 325, so like I'm a third of the way through the book ish. No, not ish. Like, I'm a third of the way through the book. So I think I'll be fine. I also think my throat's been really hurting. And I remember from choir, my choir teacher was like, you speak in your, like, lower register and you give yourself vocal fry and it hurts your throat. And I was like, I know, but I think my high voice is, like, really annoying. But I do think I need to be more careful because I am speaking more. And then when I go back to work, I'll definitely be speaking more. So I need to be more careful. Anyway, I'll get started on this. I'll stop blabbing. I'll see you. Oh, and then, like, there's just so many things on my desk that I need to get to. There's, like, this bowl is full of, like, beads with, like, letters on them. From the Stray Kids concert. They've been here since the Stray Kids concert in May. I need to get to that. But Procrastination! Yay! I don't know why I'm doing this. Yay! Okay. Bye. LOL, I opened this to page 1, but I figured it's worth mentioning that I didn't realize so many of these are historical fiction because Anna Karenina is set in 1880. What the River Knows is set in 1884, and then this one's set in 1879, and then I recently finished The Infernal Devices, which are also set in like 1880. So it's just weird that all the time periods have like lined up, which I think is one of the reasons that I didn't like What the River Knows so much and why it felt so like superficially written, I think is because like I'm reading a lot of stuff from that time period, and it's very, very society had a lot of rules at that time period. I mean, our society does have rules, but they're, I feel like, a lot less strict in most capacities. But reading multiple books at the same time, set in the same time period, even though they're different places, I just feel like you could really feel like it made it feel, I don't know if the author does or does not know much about that time period, but like you could really tell how badly written the time period and the place was in What the River Knows. And yeah, the ending was a mess. The last 25 pages like kind of enticed me to like, oh my gosh, I just realized I think I wrote it in my journal and I don't think I spoke about it. But basically, the issues that I started having with What the River Knows is the issue that I have with most Wednesday Press books. I just feel like that publishing company does not go through as many rounds of editing as maybe the books should, story-wise. Like, I feel like the grammatical editing is fine, but it's just the stories from that publishing house always feel discombobulated and like too many extra things and not very smooth, because I feel like you should not be able to pull out like chunks of certain like plot devices, but I feel like with all the books from that publishing house, like you can always pull them out and then they always kind of feel like in the wrong order, or like you'll forget about some things and then they'll be brought up all of a sudden because they're all of a sudden important again when like they didn't matter to the rest of the plot. Just, I don't know, stuff like that really bothers me, and I feel like that publishing house is the worst. And I don't necessarily think it's the author's fault, because like it is right because the authors wrote it, but if the publishing house says it's fine, like the author doesn't go through as many rounds of editing, and I think that's what this book needed. I feel like the story also could have started later than where we actually start. The prologue is pretty useless. The banter wasn't funny, and that's also, again, because I read so many novels in the same time period. I recently read The Infernal Devices, which is like, Will Herondale is like the sarcastic, sad English guy with like humor and is mean, but like with a heart of gold. And I think what I didn't like about Wit, which is like the male lead, was because we do read from his perspective sometimes, which I feel like his perspective should have been more without. Like, I really hated like the paragraph or two at the end of the chapters. I feel like he could have just had his own chapters, like maybe 2 of Inez and then like 1 Wit chapter would have been a really good balance. I also feel like he is like genuinely mean. The thing that makes Will Herondale funny and make us like him is because he doesn't want to be mean. He believes he's cursed, and like, but he's still sarcastic. You can tell he still loves the people around him, even if he can't like fully express it. And he doesn't fully trust Tessa at the beginning, as well as like the Lightwood brothers, but he still is such a charismatic character. And I feel like Wit, like, he's genuinely hates to see Inez, which completely is contradictory to what he says towards the end, or he's like, when I met you on the dock, after everything that your uncle and your parents told me, I felt like I already knew you. But literally in the first chapter, he's acting like she's a bitch and that she hates him, and like, sure, he's annoyed, but like, it doesn't make me like him. And then because he has like so little chapters in the book, like, you don't really get to know him. You know what Inez knows about him, which is that he's flippant and he's sarcastic and he's kind of mean, and once in a while he's like kind of hot, but there's none of the redeeming qualities that you would get from like a Will Herondale. And especially with like I don't know. I also just feel like the knowledge of social norms at that time period were mentioned a lot without a lot of actual structure around it. And, like, I think Inez pointed it out so much that it became annoying. And, like, I don't know. I'm going to talk about this book forever. I just need to start reading this one. And I will, hopefully, I will do more in depth at my end of the month wrap up, hopefully. But I don't know. See, this is why I'm torn. I do want to know what happens, but I don't think it's worth actually using the time to read the second book. Maybe if I can find the audiobook. I don't want to buy it, though, and I don't know if my library has it or not. This is frustrating. The dilemmas, not like, the dilemmas of someone who literally has 1,500 books on their electronic TBR and could easily just pick a different book. Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna get back to the one I currently am reading, and hopefully that book leaves me, because I want it gone. It's still in my house, but it is a library book, so it will be gone eventually. Isn't this such a fantastic angle with my forehead cut off for like half of it? I know, fantastic at vlogging. Sorry, annoyingly, I am back a few minutes later because I'm on page 4 of this book, and I want to say, 1, no prologue, already a plus. 2, in these 4 pages, I know more about Annabelle and her cousin Gilbert than I feel like I knew about literally any of the other characters in What the River Knows over the entire book. First of all, we start with the conflict, which is fantastic because conflict is great. Tension, wonderful. We start in the middle of this conflict, so we're trying to figure out what's going on. And at the same time, we learn that Annabelle is very, very good at getting what she wants and putting on an act, and we know that her cousin Gilbert is an idiot. And it's fantastic. And I'm only on page 4, so there's a chance that this could go very, very awry, but awry? I think that's the right word. However, I feel like my chances are good. I'm already feeling much better about this, and now I will finally... Yep, I don't do vlogs very often. How do you transition into vlog? I'm sure it'll be fine. And if you keep seeing me rub my eyes, it's because I've taken my glasses off to read. And technically I'm supposed to, but I haven't been very good about that. So my eyesight currently is shit while reading as well. So, like, this is, like, really, really good. I'm only on page 60, but, like, it's kicks everything. So, like, I'm only on page 60, and it is literally the tension between these two is insane. Like, this is crazy. I was not expecting this. I had to stop reading it in the living room, not because anything like sexual of any nature has happened, but like I will make my prediction now that this is going to be a 5-star read or a very, very high 4-star. Also, there's such attention to detail, but so far what's happened is we're mainly following Annabelle Archer. She is a lady in the Victorian times, but she lives in her cousin's house as, I'm not really sure yet, it's like kind of unclear, but she's not as a guest, she's more as like a maid, a cook, someone to help on the side, and she gets accepted into Oxford to go study, and her cousin like doesn't want to send her because he's like, you're already kind of like overeducated, and at 25 you were in fact a spinster, so you suck. And the last thing I'm gonna do is let you go. And she's like, but I have a scholarship from the Women's Suffragette Society. They're paying for my scholarship, and I'll send you money from tutoring other people, not kids, but tutoring other people to pay like what you'd need to pay a maid, because you know she lives there for free without having to pay. And when she's there, she has to do some stuff for the suffragette movement, and she has to hand out pamphlets, and she hands out a pamphlet to the Duke of Montgomery, and apparently no one ever talks to him. He's like very scary and very handsome, but also very, very scary, and like he's been divorced. The scandal. And like they keep running into each other, and well, this is the second time they've run into each other. But basically the suffragette movement's trying to convince the Duke of Montgomery to be on their side to reverse. It's like the Women's Property something or other. Hold on. The Married Women's Property Act is what they're trying to like reverse. So they're trying to convince the Duke of Montgomery to back it, but he was asked by the Queen to back the Tories, which are against it. So yeah, that's where that's what's been happening in the background. But like every time we meet, it's just so the banter is bantering. Everything I wanted from What the River Knows, I'm getting from this, which is ridiculous because I have literally never heard anyone talk about these. The only way I knew about these was because I was scrolling in the depths of Goodreads and I saw this cover and I was like, this looks super cute, and I added it to the list. I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I have book 3 and I cannot wait to read book 2, and I'm not even done with book 1. This is ridiculous, but yes, having a good time. I will update if anything changes, but yeah, I am glad I took a break with this one because after What the River Knows, I was afraid I was going to be in a reading slump, but everything's cured. I'm fine. We're good. So, I've decided that I'm going to take a break because I'm literally just finished chapter 10, and it's really good, and I don't want it to be over, so I'm going to take a break and read the Keeper of the Lost Cities book because I'm literally blushing so hard right now. It's nothing has happened. Literally, like, nothing has happened. And I look crazy. I am crazy, but I am free. Anyway, yeah. Keeper's books. Let's do this. You are in my cup holder again. I don't know, I really should get something for my car to hold my phone, but it is August 8th, or 9th? Today's August 9th. I did not read anything yesterday, like literally at all, but I did go to lunch with my grandma, which was great, and I got a bunch of perfume samples. That's what I was trying to say when we were out, but I'm technically now behind officially on Anna Karenina, and luckily I have the audiobook in my car, so I'm at PT, and well, I'm not at PT yet, I'm outside PT, but I'm at PT, and I listened to it, so I got through a couple chapters on the way here. I'll probably read in the lobby while I wait for my appointment, and then I will go, what will you do when she said he will go? Oh my god, no, but my grandma had booked a trip to India, and we're working through a travel agency, but this travel agency primarily responds in Spanish because my grandma primarily speaks Spanish, but I needed to send them an email today. I literally felt like I was taking the freaking like Spanish fluency test again, because I was like, what do you mean? So I wrote that, but I need my parents to read it over because my Spanish is not great. Well, actually, my Spanish understanding is fantastic, and I can read in Spanish just fine, but my speaking skills and my writing skills are not great because I've never formally taken classes. Yeah, but, so that was fun. It's also very, very hot, and I need to start working. My next video is going to be me mending a bunch of my stuff that needs to be, like, holes and things in my clothes, and I tried yesterday, but yeah, that didn't work out. And it's really hot in here. So I'm going to go into my PT appointment and see you later. Immediately after coming home, my sister was like, hey, do you want to come with me to the punk museum in our city, city museum? And I was like, yeah, sure. So we went to that. It was pretty cool. Like, I know some of the history of the city I live in, but like this was very swag, very cool. Hi guys. I'm literally like so socialed out, like completely dead. Earlier I went with my mom to her, like, she had a work function party that included families, and I went and I socialized for like 5 hours with people that I don't know, especially coworkers, because my mom's coworkers, and I just really don't know how to function. I did read. I still have 75 pages of Anna Karenina to go for today, and it is like actually I think like 8:30 at night, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get through that. Yeah, and then I'm still reading Keepers, and I'm working on a reading blog for that. So literally, yeah, anything about this will be in that. And then I did start with the intro to Gaze Upon Wicked Gods. And honestly, I'm very scared for the emotional turmoil this book is going to cause me, because the book starts with an author's note about the horrors. Like, her grandparents apparently were from, her grandfather was from Manchuria. And if you don't know about the horribleness that happened there during World War II, just look it up, because it was horrific. And the fact that this book is about like resilience and like mentally, I know it's fantasy, but like fantasy books can still take me out. So I'm gonna read it. I'm just ready to have all my emotions like ripped out of me. And I have to say, I do read author's notes all the time, but like I feel like even if someone who doesn't read author's notes would like read, I'm very excited for her writing is what I mean to say, because just from the author's note, she writes very compellingly, and which I feel like you should need to be an author, but like that doesn't seem to be a requirement nowadays. So I'm very excited. I have not gotten into like the fantasy of the world at all, and I honestly don't even know what the description is, which is how I like to go into books. So I'm gonna try to get through more of this so I can actually officially start that. But yeah, I don't know how long this vlog is actually gonna be. I mean, you're gonna be able to see because like you're watching it, but like I was debating whether it should be 1 week or 2 weeks, and I don't think I've actually done anything interesting this week for it to like, yeah. Plus, if I wanted it to just be 1 week, I'd have to edit it today to be out tomorrow. And I don't know if I want to do that. Yeah, I also don't know what Wednesday's video is going to be. But, like, you will, because I do made this video, I don't know, it's not going to come out tomorrow. So, you'll already know what Wednesday's video is going to be. I will not. So, more updating eventually. Oh, no, that's what I was going to say. I'm in, like, the middle of this book, and, like, it's starting to drag. Like, I don't know where we're going. And I don't know how much more I can read about Levin farming and his issue with farms. Like, what is that? Where is the trajectory of these chapters going? Because I'm bored. So, I'm gonna continue. Now, for real. I have my decaf coffee in my mom's old Bert and Ernie mug, where every time it goes through the dishwasher, more paint comes off. I'm not gonna lie, there's a high chance that there's lead in this paint, but I really don't care. Ow. Don't, yeah, anyway. Okay. Hello, it is Sunday. Sorry, I'm walking around my house. I'm looking for my water bottle. It's crazy, because I think I've actually vlogged every single day this week. Sorry, I think you can hear my pants. They are very swishy. But today, I'm going to the mini board game convention in town. It's hosted by the library. And yeah, so it's gonna be fun. I'm not gonna lie, I meant to leave this morning, and it is currently the afternoon. It's like 1 p.m. It ends at 4, and I still have to go to the bank. But I'm still going. Even though my plan isn't planning or going as planned, I still want to go because, yeah. I also was going to take 2 of my books that I finished already to the library to return them, but it's fine. Because I'm running really late, I'm just going to go to the bank and then go straight to the mini board game convention. Yay! I've never been. Technically, it's one of the library's branches, and I've never been, so I am a little bit nervous. I don't know what the parking situation is, and I'm by myself, so always kind of freaks me out, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. We're gonna have a good time. I'm determined. So, off we go. This is all the footage I have. It was a pretty, like, large room, and there was a lot of people there. It's just, like, because there was a lot of people there, I didn't want to, like, get a lot of people's faces in the video. But, yeah, this is one of the vendors that was there. They had a bunch of cool games I've both heard of and never heard of. This is them, and these are their locations. And, yeah. I am back from game night. Game fest. I have some goodies that I took that they're basically just bookmarks and then business cards and stuff. Yeah, I didn't buy any games, so yay me. That was not the point. I went to go to learn how to play games, and I did learn how to play. I watched a game of Settee. I don't understand the rules still. Definitely need to watch that game a couple more times before I try to play. But I did learn how to play Rebel Princesses, which is definitely being added to the game night repertoire. Basically, it's like this game. It's kind of like Uno. Not really, where like you're matching the suits, and God explained to me it's like a trick card game that means things to people who play like cards and stuff. Did not mean anything to me, but now I know how to play it, and it was really fun, so that was cool. However, I have all these scraps of paper that I need to put into my journal. However, I realized, I'm like, why do I keep continually having problems with like scraps of things floating around loose in my room? And I don't usually have that problem, and that's because most of my journals usually have a pouch in the back. My current journal does not have one, and you're like, most journals don't come with a pouch. And when I am, now that I journal a lot, I do look for pouches for them, like brands that come with the pouch, but for the ones that don't, I make. So I need to make one because I'm tired of having scraps of paper. They're literally all over my desk because I usually shove them in the pouch, and then when I need stuff for junk journaling, when I finally write about specific events, then it's just in the pocket. But I also put stickers here, forgetting that I put the thing on this page, so I'm gonna have to put it over here, which I'm gonna be okay with. I just need to remember to put the opening. So usually the opening goes into here because it's on this. But will it be? Yeah, I think I'll still do that. I'll do the opening this way still. But yeah, I gotta find some paper to do that. So I will show you the options. So I have a box of origami paper around here, but I was like, I kind of want, just because everything's like green and brown, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for orange. So I might have orange. Do I want the brown or do I want the orange though? The lighting's terrible, so you probably can't. I feel like this one. I feel like the orange would be better. How many pages of orange do I have left? Oh, a ton. Okay, this is so sick. Okay. So I will cut it up, and I'm going to watch a YouTube video while I do that because I have a couple people who posted that I need to catch up with. Reading-wise, I've technically read 50 pages of Anna Karenina, but I'm still 25 pages behind. I did manage to read an extra 25 pages yesterday, so I'm halfway made up to where I am. I know this is a reading log, and now I'm doing crafts, but yeah, so I'm on page 500, past halfway. To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods, I ended up last night on page 126. So not quite halfway, but almost halfway for this one. So if I read ahead, my goal is like 75 pages, right? So if I read ahead, I just mark the 75 pages for the day from where I am, like not like where the next 75 pages would be. So that means, I already forgot what number I said. 126. Oh, that's easy. So I just need to be at 201, 202 for today. Yeah, so I have reading to do for this. Hunger Games, I think I'm reading chapter 13 tonight. Yes, I'm on reading chapter 13. This is an old copy. She is very stiff and somehow sun damaged, even though these are in the box set and then they were in darkness and like they still are in darkness. So I'm confused how it's starting to get this. You know what? It might just be wear and tear from my fingers. And then for Keepers, I'm on page 250, I think. Yeah, like 250, and then today I should be at 300. So making progress. I have a feeling, if I'm really feeling it, I think I can push through and finish this tonight. But I have other things to do. My parents just invited me over to the friend's house that they're at because they have a bunch of like extra food. So might go do that too. But I'm a little peopled out. I'm gonna be very honest. But it's okay. I think I'm still gonna go. But I will see how I feel. So I will show you my pocket when it's done. I know, I'm literally in PJs, but okay, listen, okay? I realize I have not updated on what's going on very well. So, I will start with Anna Karenina, because the reason why I figured I should probably update a little bit better was I'm thinking about the fact that I have actually vlogged every single day this week, and I was planning on just having it be a 2-week vlog because I'm bad at vlogging. I like usually never get footage, but something about this week, I have actually been really good about it. So I do think I will have to cut it off because I think anything over an hour is not great. And it might, after editing, go down to 30 minutes, but like about an hour of raw footage, first like a vlog is like, I'm gonna have to call it. So I really do think we're there. But, so I will give you a kind of last update on everything that I've read this week, because it is actually Sunday night. Technically it's already Monday morning because it's like past midnight, but whatever. I know, I look insane, okay? Cat pajamas. Okay, so Anna Karenina, because of how big this book is, I was trying not to, basically, we're following a couple different people. Mainly, we're following a man named Steva, his wife Dolly, Dolly's sister Kitty, Steva's friend Levin, Steva's sister Anna Karenina, and then Anna's husband Karenin. I know, crazy. So I think my earlier updates this week was that I was having a really good time with this, and I was surprised at how good of a time I was having. Unfortunately, my opinion has changed. I have officially passed halfway. I'm on page 510. I read a little bit more, and it's really starting to lose me. It does this thing where classics do. So one of my favorite classics of all time is The Count of Monte Cristo, and I feel like a lot of people say their favorite is The Count of Monte Cristo because like once you've read it you understand, but I think what makes The Count of Monte Cristo so special compared to a lot of these classics is because The Count of Monte Cristo has like a goal that we're working towards. So like in The Count of Monte Cristo, though we're learning about all these character relationships and all these things, we know that Dante is working towards his revenge. So because of that, every interaction becomes a very curious thing, is either complicating his revenge plan or leading or helping towards his revenge plan, and like you know that. So every scene, even though it at the moment while you're reading it kind of feels like this is just like a strange interaction, like comes back around. And already, like, is the first like 1/4 that book, like when he's in prison, like really boring? Yes, but do you have to understand that suffering to get into the revenge portion? Yes. This book, we're basically, the main story that we're following, since it is called Anna Karenina, is Anna, Steva's sister, is like a well-loved society woman, and at this time it's set in 1880, so Victorian Russia basically, but like of course not Victorian because Queen Victoria, England, same time period though in Russia. And she is married to a husband that she doesn't really love, and she goes out in society. She goes to visit her brother in, I keep getting confused who's in Petersburg and who's in Moscow, because that's where we're bouncing between the two cities most of the time. And wherever Anna goes, she goes to visit her brother who lives in the other city. There she meets Vronsky, which is like this really, really put together, really like affectionate, flirtatious guy who at the time is, everyone believes he is courting Kitty, Dolly's sister. So Levin, Steve's friend, has always been in love with Kitty, so he goes to propose, but Kitty says no because she's in love with Vronsky. But Vronsky actually does not want marriage because he's a man. And he just wishes to be free. And at one of these balls, right after Levin's proposal, like Kitty turns down Levin's proposal, Vronsky meets Anna and falls in love with her on the spot, and basically follows her back to this other town and basically starts asking for her at all these like public social events and dinners and stuff. And for the first half of the book, I felt really bad for Karenin, like the husband, because he actually was a really good guy, and he's like, I'm gonna have faith in my wife. I believe that she's strong and she can like do. Did he communicate that very well? No. And does the book say that he communicated that poorly? Yes. But basically, Anna ends up cheating on her husband, which I feel like, sorry, it's not really spoiling a classic, like that's the whole point of the book. And it's kind of like, we're now in the aftermath of that, and it's just not very interesting anymore. Like literally in the middle, so Levin, the guy that proposed to Kitty, he lives in the country and comes into, I think it's Moscow, whatever, one of the cities, like once in a while to do business. But like literally like 5 chapters were Levin farming because he's having this like existential crisis about the type of work and like the peasant like nobility relationships, because that was a big thing in Russia. They had just liberated gotten rid of serfdom. So like historical context is important, but it's like I don't care. I don't know what this specific thing is going towards in Levin's case. And I'm frustrated with all the characters because I feel like I am supposed to be frustrated at this point because they are kind of in a really terrible situation. Like Karenin wants to divorce Anna, but Anna's like, you can't, like, is like half the time like, yes, I want the divorce because I want to be with the person I love, but at the same time she's like, but I'll be ruined in society. And then Karenin's like, well, I'll be ruined in society. Keep going back and forth, and it's such a headache. But so if I updated correctly, I was technically 25 pages behind because I was 50 pages behind, and then I was 25 pages behind, and now I'm 15 pages behind. So I'm almost caught up, which is fantastic news for me. So I can start getting that time back, because honestly, getting through 50 pages of this book takes me about an hour and a half of my day. Usually a page takes me about a minute, so like 50 pages should be like just under an hour. But it's just so dense, and like I don't care, so like I'll just like randomly be in the middle of a page and then like have to start over because I'm like don't care. Which, if you're wondering, one of my systems for reading large books, I have a double tab system that I like to call. So this back tab is going to be where I'm reading towards. This is like my goal for the day. It helps me calm down. It helps me realize I'm not trying to read like, this much book. I'm trying to read this much book. Leslie was on the chapter header. And then this tab, so if you're reading a classic, and you'll notice that because, like I said, the pages take me a really long time to get through, you actually, like for me, it takes me about 3 minutes to read a single page, is what it feels like. So to not waste that time, if I only have like 5 minutes, so that's like almost 2 pages, I make sure to tab, like write what the next section is that I'm supposed to be reading. This is a chapter headed, so like it's a little bit easier, but like let's say I'm in the middle, where's a good chunk? Oh yeah, like right here, like let's say I'm like in the middle of this, and I don't want to have to reread this whole thing, I'll just tab where I'm at. So if you're scared of big books and you've never really read one and you're wondering what's a good way to get through it, that's one. So I will put this down, but I do need to read some more of that tonight. Keeper of the Lost City, I did get through my 50 pages, but I will be updating that because I'm working on a reading vlog for just this series because secrets, plots, and schemes. Next that I'm going to be talking about To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods by Molly X. Chang. I had high hopes, and unfortunately those high hopes are gone. Mainly I'm having a couple issues. So this book basically follows Ru Ying. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct. I'm going to guess, sorry. But she basically, so in this world, there were two different dimensions, basically. One of them is the world that Ru Ying lives in, and then one of them is they call Rome. And basically, one day, Rome, so like this is Rome if the Roman Empire never fell, and they have the technology that we have now. And Ru Ying's, like, dimension, they have magic, but they never, like, advanced scientifically because they had magic. One day, Rome invaded Erlang. I'm pronouncing that definitely wrong, but it's spelled E-R-L-A-N-G. I'm pretty sure it's the Chinese error, but I can't remember how to pronounce it correctly, so I'm just not going to pronounce it. I'm just going to say Erlang. So, Rome invades Erlang, and for 20 years, they've been making the people of Erlang's life hell. And Erlang is one nation amongst, like, these 5 nations in a bigger nation called Pangu. I'm definitely pronouncing that incorrectly. I can hear my education in Korean coming out, but it's definitely Chinese, so definitely pronouncing that incorrectly. But basically, in Erlang, some of the people have been blessed with certain magical powers, but even before Rome invaded, the amount of people blessed with those powers have been going down, and our main character, Ru Ying, has been blessed with the power of death. And she can feel people's, like, life. It's chi. She can feel people's, like, chi, basically, and she can either drain them or fully kill them, and she was working on repressing that. The author does say that a lot of inspiration for the like, issues in this book is the invasion of Manchuria. Holy crap, hold on. The invasion of Manchuria, and her grandfather's Manchurian, and he survived that. So it's kind of like the memory is rooted in reality, which is what literally it says in the author's note at the beginning of the book. And the premise sounds fantastic and crazy. Unfortunately, the execution is not very good. It started off pretty strong, but I quickly noticed after I started reading, her author's note is actually really strong. Her writing is wonderful and compelling, but her storytelling leaves a little bit to be desired, in my opinion, because there's a lot of fury behind the words that she's writing, which makes sense. This is something to be very upset about. But what happens, I'm actually having the same problem I had with Iron Widow in this, is that anger is repeated so much in, like, describing exactly what it is, instead of, like, showing us and making us feel that with her. Like, there's only so much lecturing you can take from a character before it becomes boring, and it loses its actual, like, emotional appeal, because your brain kind of starts becoming numb to the certain phrases that the characters are saying, which is really unfortunate, because I feel like the premise has an ability to be very, very compelling. It's just, it kind of lost me. I feel like a lot of what is like the 100 pages I think I read today, or the 75, probably at most could have been condensed into 2 chapters. Like, there was no reason for that to be that long. I feel like the pacing is incredibly off. It's just the pacing is way too slow for what this book is trying to achieve. And this book is only about, like, 350 pages, and, like, nothing has happened. And that doesn't even get me started with the fact that, like, I'm hoping I'm wrong, but currently it feels like it's being set up for a colonized romance, and I'm incredibly uncomfortable. I really hope. I have 2 possible theories about what's going to happen, and I'm there's one that I don't want to see happen, and because it, like, would be heartbreaking, but I'm hoping that's what it is, because I'll just say it. So basically, it says it in, does it say it in here? Yes. So basically, Ru Ying accidentally shows her power of death to one of the Roman emperor's grandsons that rule this dimension on his behalf, and he basically takes her in. Takes her in is not the right word, but basically he, like, is like, you work for me or you die, and you're gonna do everything I say. And she's like, cool. I think, again, this is very hard because I'm reading Catching Fire, which is another book about hatred towards the ruling, and, like, Ru Ying and Katniss are actually in very similar positions at the point of the series I'm in Hunger Games and in To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods. And I really hate to say it, but I'm having a really hard time believing Ru Ying's character, because even though Ru Ying says that she's scared, she doesn't take actions in the way someone in her position would act scared, versus, like, Katniss. It's like, it's kind of fair. And versus, like, Katniss, I feel like that's where I'm having trouble. Like, it basically comes down to telling instead of showing, where, like, she says she's scared, and, like, I think this definitely comes from the fact that I studied screenwriting a little bit in college, and now I just can't read anything the same, is because, like, one of the things you learn is, like, if you cannot physically represent it on a screen, strike it, which for books you need a little bit, because, like, of course, it's a different medium, but there's just so much of it. I can't stand it, and it's slowing down the story, and it's slowing down the pacing, and, like, there's no reason that I am this far through the book, and the few things that have happened, and the little amount of character development should have happened. Especially because I feel like modern readers have a lot of familiarity, I think, with the structures that she's building, and I don't know, it's really frustrating. So I'm going to try to push to finish this, because my hope is that there's a twist, and I think I've predicted the twist, and I don't want to say it in case I am right, but it has something to do with the Emperor's grandson. I'm pretty sure I'm correct about that, and I'm hoping it's that too, what I'm guessing, because, like, again, I really don't want a colonized romance. I just, it makes me, that, especially with, okay, for those of you who don't understand why that's a big deal, which I know there's some people out there who don't quite understand that, it's like if Katniss dated a peacekeeper instead of, like, Peeta or Gale. Like, that for those of you who don't quite understand that scenario, that, like, that, I'm, like, and I understand a little bit in this character's mind why she could possibly be doing that, but I really hope that the twist that I don't want to happen happens, because then I'll be wrong about the setup for the romance. Like, there's no good outcome, and, like, good outcome, not in the sense, yeah, like, storytelling wise, I'm like, no. Which, that actually is not, I think, a writing issue. I really do think that's what she was going for, which, fair, but, like, yeah, no, the which, if this is not a fun read, that would mean that every single library book I read this month would be a strikeout, which makes it really great that I got it from the library. And then for Catching Fire, they just announced the twist for the Quarter Quell. So, if you're not a Hunger Games person, basically, every 25 years, on this games in this book is the 75th anniversary, but every 25 years they do something extra special to kind of extrally communicate what like make the games worse for the districts, but more entertaining for the capital. And a really interesting switch that I did notice here, which again is one of those things where like the movie is different from the book, and one of the reasons why I really liked the fact that the movie was different than the book. In the movie, it is more alluded to that Snow purposely manufactured what happens in these, like in the 75th Court of Quell. Like we get to see the conversation between Plutarch, I think is the new head game maker's name, and Snow, engineering a game to punish Katniss for not following Snow's orders, versus in this one, we get to see what the people of District 12 see, and basically, Katniss explains how, on the news, when Snow announced the twist for the Court of Quell, they pull out, like, a little box with like, envelopes about what the Court of Quells are supposed to be. And if you don't watch the movie, and you just read this, and you know that Katniss has met Plutarch ahead of this, you'll know, like, oh, she's met him, but, like, she had a weird conversation with him, but, like, that was it. Versus, like, in the movie, you know that's, like, you know that these envelopes might be empty, and that Snow might actually be manufacturing, like, the president of the Capitol is manufacturing what is happening in the Court of Quells to, like, stop rebellions, which, of course, like, middle school me did not pick up, but, like, now that I've seen the movies, and now that I'm rereading them, I'm like, holy shit, like, he totally, like, from this perspective, Katniss has no idea that Snow purposely might have changed what the Court of Quell was supposed to be. And, like, that's insane. That's actually, that was an insane shock I had last night, because I read a chapter before I go to bed, which you know, because vlog, and it took me out. I fully was like, I actually had to read. That's why my 75 pages of this, I should have been on page 150. I had to read some more of this to kind of calm me down from this, because I was like, my brain is shattered. Which also just, like, you can tell how well loved these editions are by the fact that I don't even know how this happened. But yeah, this one is a bit better. My copy of Hunger Games, I, like, would pick at I'm doing it already. I would, like, pick at this, so it's, like, missing the Suzanne, it's missing the Collins, like, the bottom of the letters. But yeah, so I do think this will be done by tomorrow. And I want to be done. I want to be done with this. I'm not having a good time. And I read, like, Les Mis is, like, 1,200 pages. And as a kid, I read, like, 800 and then DNF'd. And I think it was the worst mistake I ever made, because I should have just sucked it up and finished it. Because now I regret it. Because now if I ever want to finish Les Mis, I'd have to reread those 800 pages and lose that time, which I don't think I ever am. I think I'll just watch the musical. I'll call it a day. I'll watch the musical. I'll be fine. Or just literally study anything else about the French Revolution. But yeah, that's why I refuse to give up. So luckily, 500 is a good chunk past halfway, because I just have 463 pages left. Anyway, since this is the end of the vlog, I should say the vloggy things. Yeah, well, if you made it this far, congratulations, you've made it to the end of the video. I'd really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. We hit 48 subscribers this week. I need you to know, like, every time someone subscribes, I obnoxiously text Cynthia that someone has subscribed. Yeah, anyway, I'm trying to hit 100 subscribers by the end of the year. But, like, again, I appreciate each and every one of you who are subscribed. I, like, think it's crazy, because 48 is literally, like, the size of a classroom. So, like, there's a classroom worth of you that, like, that's, I need to know that's a little bit insane for me, because when I started, I literally was like, there's no way. If I get, like, 2 subscribers, like, it'd be cool, but, like, yeah. I usually say to leave something in the comments, but, like, tell me about your week. How was your week? Honestly, this week has been a little bit crazy, because not only did we have the full moon, Mercury retrograde finally ends tomorrow, so, like, but I feel like, has anyone else felt like time's been really weird? I'm just blabbing. I need to end it. Okay, bye!